Hi guys, Luton here, and back for some more Battlefield Preppers. Now, I want to sound positive about this game, but actually I can't, because it was one of the worst games that I've ever played. And this is part of my ongoing search at the moment to find any kind of playable public game. Any game that you could call somewhat respectable. And it's been very, very, very difficult to find anything like that. And this game, I really felt, you'll see why later, was going to be a catastrophic loss. Look at the map and certain things. At the moment, we've actually 3 players ahead. I just joined in on a random game and it balanced up to this on the start of the next round. Throughout this round, we have some players leave, some players stay. Sometimes they have more, sometimes we have more. Bear in mind that on the other team, they do have a full clan of about sort of 8 guys, I think. So theoretically, those guys there should be playing much, much harder teamwork. But this is only a 12v12 on Grand Bazaar Conquest 3 base. And, you know, it's like... For how intense this can normally be, it was a ghost town, and I was just like, where are the players? And if you look at the maps at several points throughout here, I was just checking this location's clear, getting ready. You might be wondering, what is this? What is the point of this Battlefield Preppers episode? What are we talking about here? You're having a bad game? What's the point of this? The point of this is that don't judge around necessarily. Try and stick it out to the end. I'm as bad at this as anybody else. Sometimes you're having a really crap game and you just think, Jesus, I can't handle this anymore, I'm going to have to step out. And you're still going to do that, I'm still going to do that, okay? You're still not going to stick it out to the end. But at least let this be a lesson. There we go, you can see the team's balancing up a little bit there. But let it be a lesson that unusual things can happen, and let it be a lesson as well that sometimes it's worth just staying in there. I can often be a little bit masochistic when I play games. I tend to, even if we're getting destroyed, stay in the game, because I often like to see how badly we can get annihilated just as much as I like to see how strongly we can win in certain games. And often a lot of my guys that I play with, sometimes if we're having a game where our team is really not sort of doing anything at all, I mean, if you look at the map constantly, look where they are still, they're still back at the spawn, and it's like, guys, come on, when are you going to help me out here? So it really can be quite brutal when you're in games like this where they're sort of not doing anything. There were multiple stages throughout this game where the team just were not moving. I couldn't understand it, or they were taking an ultra long way around and all these kind of things. Now, people don't like me hating on my teams, and they're like, "Oh, Lou, did you hate on your team?" Just look at it, okay? I'm only saying what is exactly happening in the game. I'm not sort of making crap up. There's a couple of my guys moving around here. There's a couple of my guys spawn on me and they help me out. We have a couple of people helping to take bases and things. But for the most part, at multiple stages of the game, there was just so little movement, and it was agony. This round was agony. And even though I came out top score at the end of this round, and even though I managed to maintain like a mildly respectable KD, like nothing really great, just, you know, default, I would say, just default. The main reason is that because quite regularly I have no support at all, and like this, okay, so I'm facing 2 or 3 guys solo. If I just had one person out here on the corridor, they'd have been able to help me out there and like cover that other guy coming in, because sometimes there's just too many people to deal with, and that's a problem I found more often than not with PC, is that, again, with the numbers involved on some of the maps, you often end up with sort of situations that are more than you can handle, as much as you would like to sort of think, or as much as people would say. Sometimes there's situations there's nothing you can do, because if you have 2 or 3 people coming at you from a couple of different directions, you can drop 1, 2, but if that other guy has already started firing whilst you're dealing with all those other things, and you'll see there's like a moment later where that exact thing happens. I got 2 targets straight in front of me, I've got to go for one of them, and the other guy starts firing, so it doesn't work out. But where are we going with this? Where are we going with this? As I say, the point to really demonstrate was that you can have a round that's super bad, and it really and so I'm so guilty of the fact that sometimes when we're in games, we'll be in a situation, I'm just like, we're screwed, this is it, it's all over, we got no chance. And then something happens that brings it back, and I should totally learn from my own experience. This is a video for me as much as a video for everybody else, to just sort of, you know, things will happen, and sometimes you just got to stick with it. You know, I've got to tell you, alright, that there are some kind of justifications, alright? If your team is, for example, getting horrifically spawn trapped, and you cannot even spawn, you cannot even get out of there. Now, as I say, I can be a little bit masochistic about my gaming, so sometimes in those situations I'm just like, it's like a challenge to just see if I can get out of the spawn, and I'll just do everything to try and get out of there. Sometimes I'll make it, and I'll flank all the way back round to the other base, and I start to cap it. Maybe I'll even maybe have a couple of people spawn on me, so it can often be a kind of good one to sort of see what happens there, see what you can do. It's like a personal little challenge, sort of see how well you can kind of take these people on board. So you can see we're just kind of doing a little bit of work, and we're slowly sort of trying to grab these bases. A couple of guys in my squad, see here, right, helping me out. So throughout the game things change around a little bit, they do come in, they do help out a bit, and we sort of tick along. This round as well was ridiculously long. I think it was, because we're only 12v12 and it's like 500 tickets or something. So this really was a gulag. It just went on and on. And as I say, the speed of the game, I mean, there was so few people. Both teams were totally guilty. Oh, this was a good point I wanted to mention. Look, look, look. We were in that B section there, and I had like this feeling, and this is something else I want to talk about, is sort of knowing your enemy, sort of knowing when to predict certain things are going to happen. And I often get a feeling of like, if it was me, I'd be coming around the back right now. And that's what I did there. I had a feeling that this guy was on the way, which is why you could see, even though we were having contact, I turned around and came back around. Okay, this right here. This is a classic example. We're only on a 12v12, and this guy's mortaring. It's just... And not only that, but look, we're capping C. We're capping C, and he's sitting there mortaring. He should be here defending his team. Look, these two guys right here, they're taking it back. They're doing the right thing. We had capped C, and he's just like sitting there like, I don't need to do that. I'll support my team with a mortar on Grand Bazaar. Yeah, it was working out well for you, buddy, wasn't it? It was working out well for you. So anyway, as I say, the constant frustration lately of trying to find anything that you could qualify as a playable game has been slightly grinding me down a little bit. And as I spoke about in another video, you know, I think in the future the way to go is going to have to be sort of more organized setups, things like level battlefield, or even perhaps creating my own sort of private setup thing. It might be sort of an invitational setup. I might sort of get Dasker involved a little bit, try and get some people on board with that. So that might be something that I do for Battlefield 4, is try and get Dasker and myself, and sort of here, Dasker has his own setup, right? He's already doing a lot of things, but that kind of principle and people involved is something that'll be really, really great. But anyway, let's get back to this. Okay, so we're thinking about sort of turning a game around. Now look at the difference here in points. Right now, not too bad, and it stays about this kind of like 50-50 all the way through. It could go either way, and you can see right here, we're both around a sort of 300 tickets, not a massive difference, and with a few good base caps, you think, okay, yeah, you can turn it around. But as we move into the sort of later part of the game, you see that they kind of really steal it back from us. And right here, you know, they're fighting a little bit harder at this point, sort of trying to take these bases back. I'm doing my very, very best here. I'm trying as hard as I can to turn these things around. I really, really am. And throughout the game, I was trying as hard as I possibly can. Oh my god, yeah. Come back here. What's he doing? What's he doing back here? Buddy, what are you doing? Oh. Why go back there? I've killed you one time. Oh, this. Right. You may not have spotted that, so go back. There was a guy here. At this point, I spawned back at the base because I wanted to go to A. Now look. You see, I saw a little leg fly past. This guy here, he's spawn camping. There's one guy spawn camping. And I was like, oh, you're not getting me. And there he is. Yeah, buddy. That's what you get for spawn camping units. Anyway, so from there on we go blah blah blah, and yeah, battlefield, shoot, take A, through thing, enter B, bit of fighting, get blown up, la 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 la, shoot, battlefield, in A, cap, shoot, res, team, die, moving, B, try to cap it, fail, go in, 3, flank, shoot, CCC, B, we're into the last section of the game. So that was that entire round summated into about a 20-second clip, and then we go into the B section right here. Seriously, this round was about 45 minutes long, so no way I've just condensed about 25 minutes of gameplay there for you. Anyway, we're fighting here at B, we've got A. Look at the point difference here. Okay, it's a little bit small for me, but I think that says 2186, alright? So they've got about a 60-point lead on us, alright? And how are we going to turn this around? Never going to turn this around. Now, the reason I sort of moved up here is, again, just sort of wanting to check this area, make sure that they weren't coming around the back section. They weren't here this time, but it's always worth checking that. It's always worth ensuring that they're not coming around for a hard flank there. Because if they were pushing round at that stage for us, didn't spot that guy as well. I remember this, I was going to point that one out. As I was running up here, couldn't see that guy, not at all. He was just sort of hidden down there, couldn't clip him. But anyway, it's leveled off as well in terms of players. We're down 12 and 12, so it's really, really close now. Look at this, 1876, so it's so close. They're pushing in really hard on B, and yet again, look, same deal. 3 guys coming in, all firing at me. Just, you're not going to resolve those kind of situations. You're lucky if you get 1 or 2, but you're going down unless you get super lucky. Alright, so B again. Not a lot of movement here. People are not pushing forward. We're getting stuck. 1368. 1266, is that 66? So again, we're really feeling the pain here. Never going to turn this around. And this is the kind of situation where I'd be like, oh man, we're over. In fact, I think even towards the end of this game, because it had gone on for such a long time, and I had really tried hard in this round. I'd done everything I could. I was flanking, pushing up, getting onto the objectives, really trying to clear them out here. The reason I was on this, look, oh yeah, that's right, the reason I was on the minimap, look on the left side of the minimap. See 3 guys in my squad? What the Christ, what are they doing over there? What are they doing at the 3rd MCOM area? What the Christ are they doing over there? They're taking the longest flanking route you could ever possibly take. Jesus. Anyway, he doesn't need a med pack. He needs resin looting. What the Christ are you doing? Oh, and you got killed. And it's all going just totally wrong here at the end of the round. It's just going totally, totally wrong. But don't give up. Even though we're down 8 to 35 or 36, we're not going to give up. Because you don't know what can happen in the end of a game. And the last thing that I want to point out as well, a lot of people mentioned about me being critical and sort of pointing things out, what went wrong, what went right, and yeah, okay, I'm getting a few kills here, blah, 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 shoot, etc., take the base. And, okay, the criticality of things, a little bit of history. When I used to play World of Warcraft, I used to lead like a 40-person raid, and we were one of the top raiding guilds on my server at the time. We were often getting first server kills on bosses and so on and so on. So for me, to be able to criticize and analyze was incredibly important for us to be successful and achieve the goals that we needed to achieve. And that's why when you're looking at rounds like this, it's very, very important to look at what everyone is doing, where their positions are, what role they're playing, where they could be, how things would be different. You have to analyze and break it down. And that means looking at yourself as well. Were you in the right place? Like me, going back. Okay, should I have gone back at a certain time? Should I have gone a different way? You have to look at it all. It's part of a bigger picture. And when you start to look at these things, you start to see how things can go better. And this one at the end here shows, you know, you don't know how it's going to go down. That last push, the fact that we pushed them right back and clipped that base, we won the round, and I never would have thought we were going to win this round. So analysing everything and looking at every role that somebody plays in a game is really, really important. But the biggest thing that you can take away from it is just not to lose hope, not to give up, and then to put that into your gameplay. How many games have you been in where people do a push right at the end of the game, but it's too late? If they did that push earlier on and made a real effort earlier on, they'd have had a much better chance and success at the game. And this is something that I have said so many times, is why didn't they do this earlier? How many games have you been in? Like I say, you could have won the game if you made that big push earlier on, and that's the point. Don't give up, and definitely don't give up early on. Like if it seems it's like a little bit hard, like that round for me was just so agony. It was frustrating as hell because I just didn't feel I had the support of people. I was constantly on my own at bases because nobody was moving forward, and it was a really, really frustrating round for me. But turn it around, you could see towards the end, suddenly the team was like, hey, hang on a minute, we got a chance to win here. Of course, you had a chance to win the whole round, but you just didn't get involved enough. And that's really, really what it's about. I'm going to talk a little bit more on other videos about sort of me analysing things, actually, because it's a little bit of history that I think some people would be interested in that I've not really talked about in a massive way before. So we'll get into that a little bit. But as I say, today, the message that I want you to take away is that, you know, don't judge a round just on certain moments in it. If it feels like it's been going bad, and even when you have a massive ticket difference, It's not the end of the round. It's not over till it's over, and you can turn it around. You can turn it around if you fight, if you move forward, if you get involved. But if you sit back and you think, oh, it's a little bit dangerous, I'm going to try and, maintain a reasonable KD by the end of the round, it will go the other way. It's a false economy. It doesn't work, because if you sit back, the only thing that will happen is they will dominate you. And to turn that around, you need to move up, put the pressure onto them, and then you have a better chance of having a successful round, a successful fight. You could see at the end of this game, when we took the fight to them, that's when it came together. That's when we put the pressure on them. But up until that point, it was a 50-50 game all the way through, because it was like they would take some, we would take some. It didn't really go anywhere. It was only when it came down to the wire did people really put the pressure in, did they really put the pressure on, and that's when we turned it around. Thanks for watching today, guys. If you've enjoyed, please, as always, drop it a like. I'll be back next time with some more Battlefield Preppers.